All right, so I've got a new version of Lightmagic Studio that I'm working on. And don't forget, this is over on Blender Market. I will put a link in the description below, so go check that out. It supports the channel. Also, the subscribes and likes do. And to all of my past, present, and hopefully future subscribers, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel in any way you do. It's got a big upgrade to give you the option to be able to store every item in your scene at the same time, and then some different variables for each one. So this is version 6, and you'll see the same shortcuts are still here for different things that are available, like the camera focus. You'll have mouse modals, you'll be able to control it with the mouse. So if I go ahead and drop a light into the scene, you have your light here, and you'll see the light intensity is Alt-X, and so you'll have a little mouse modal pop up, and you'll be able to change, and you can see it changing right here. Alt-X will do that for you, and then if you want to slow that down and just do it a little bit, you can hold down Shift, just like you would expect inside of Blender. And then if we drop a camera into the scene, you'll be able to hit Alt-C and change the focal length there, and of course you can see how that changes. It's pretty useful. That way you don't have to dig back through all the different settings to get to it, and I refined it so we don't have like 5,000 things listed in the end panel now. And for a side note, you can always change these shortcuts. They don't have to stay the same. So you just left click on it for the camera focal length, and maybe you want it to be Alt H, which would not be fun because that one's already used. Ha ha ha. How about Alt L? Anything you want, Control Alt L, doesn't matter. And then you can change each one of these individually. So if there's any conflict with other things, you're getting errors popping up, that could be why. There'll be some different items. So if you have a light selected, you can now open up lighting controls. There'll be multiple lights in here if you have them. So I'll just make a few extra lights and go into lighting controls. You see we now have all of the lights in the scene, and I didn't even realize I duped one but didn't move it. Yep, there it is. And so you'll know everything that you've got, and you'll be able to select each light from this pop-up and then change all of the features that you need. Use nodes, hide it, whatever you want to do. Let's jump out of that. I'll go ahead and delete everything out of there. And this is still in beta testing. I've got some other features to add, so I'm not going to release it just yet. Bring that cursor back. I always put one of those in there, so you can always bring the cursor back to world origin. So you can hit the recycle button on this, and it'll refresh. I do have some, it's effectively a gobo light, but I'm going to work on this a little bit more and then add a list of extra gobos in there for you guys. And then we've got the studios. I'll build a few more studios out as well. And so if you've got an entire studio scene like this, what we can do is you can just hit A for all and then just click the plus sign, and it literally just added everything in here. So if I was to just move the entire studio down, you'll see we can get the position of everything. I'm going to delete this one, and it also has a numbering system, so you'll be able to number everything. So if I want to grab the guy, I'll grab my man and bring him to the front, and let's just rotate him a little bit. Maybe bring this light up and hit A for all, and I can now add a whole new studio setup, and I can switch between them, and it will number them as we go. So if I wanted to move this out just a little bit, like say right there, maybe my lamp, so I'll make it just a, and grab the whole thing here, make sure we got everything, and bring that over just a touch, A for all, and go ahead and do that. And let's switch between them. So we got the original, got this one, and then this one, and how it's set up. And I do have these clipping, but whatever. So grabbing this light, let's bring up the light properties here so you can see what's going on for what I do next. We can go in and change the color now, change the intensity, bring that up, and I'll go ahead and lock that in. I'm going to change the color again. And I'll bring the intensity maybe down just a touch. And I'll go ahead and lock that in. And you could rename all of these because they're based on a pointer system that's actually grabbing the original object, not the name. It will display whatever name you have here, but if you were to come back over and check an individual object, if you could access it, you would see that it's still actually pointing. So if you change point to my light, it's still going to point, no pun intended, to 0.002. So it's all going to be locked in. So we got our original, that's the second, the third, and then the fourth. You see the power, and the color is changed. And now I've got this changed as well. And maybe I don't want my guy right there. I'll bring him back just a little bit. Dupe him out, hit A for all, and boom. And so now as you move back through the collections, and he's not part of these other collections, but he's still in the scene. So he's just part of a different collection. So this guy's still going to be here. But you can now store everything that you want. And maybe this is kind of obtuse where it is. Let's see. Why is it getting crazy? There we go. Just want to rotate that out a little bit. And I'm going to delete home dude, hit A for all, and go ahead and store that in as well. And you have a bunch of different variations of your scene, and there's no limit to the amount of objects you can put in. So if I was to take top view and I'll just dupe these and just have a massive amount of these, I'll hit the recycle button. I want to clear everything out because I'm just starting over, A for all, and you can enter all these in. And so if I start pulling these with different locations, even so, some different rotations, I'll rotate that one just a little bit, maybe rotate that, and this can be over here, and hit A for all. And now I'll actually get all these new rotations, all these new locations are completely stored, and then of course all of the different colors for any lights you have in the power. And so I've got a few more things I've got to add to this, so it's not really done yet. And then if you come down, you'll have the select any objects. So whatever objects you have, you can just use the middle mouse wheel to scroll through them in a very nice tight list. And then you can just individually grab, excuse me, each one of these in the scene. And the lights probably don't show up in here. I don't think I made it so it would do that. This is just going to be mesh objects. And I think empties will come in here as well. And then you can go and individually select whatever you want. And there's, there it is. I knew there was one for that table. But there we go. So those are some of the major features, but I've got some other things I made too. So I'll delete this out and bring that mouse cursor back. Now these are a good bit more highly experimental features, but if I just go ahead and drop in a plane, and I'm going to duplicate that, and I'll bring it up, and I'm going to click shadow lights, and when I do that, I'm going to get a geometry node setup, and the geometry node setup will have some different options for you to increase the size of this, because this is like a kind of like a noise based gobo. So, and I don't have the lights for it yet. It's like it's not completely set up. But if I put in a spotlight, G and Z, I'll bring this bad boy up. And unfortunately, this thing kind of like works whenever it wants to. But this snap light option, you should be able to highlight your light, then shift select the object that you want to snap to it, and then click the snap lights, and it works when it wants to. So I've got to work that out. Like if I just go ahead and drop in, say, a cube and select that, it snaps the cube up, so like a fresh object. So I just got to work the bugs out of it. It does work, and it's going to be very useful for taking like one of the preset gobos and you've got a light at an angle, it's going to literally snap to that light, and you can make your adjustments as you see fit. And so for this one, I'll just go ahead and jump in. This is kind of manual at the moment. And you'll have a nice pattern down here. So let's Alt-X, bring up the intensity, since that's what we want to use is the add-on for everything. And I'm grab the Gobo. I'm going to lock my workspace. And then it actually has an animation value built right in. So if you were to hit play, it will animate right off. And then you can change the speed right here, which is pretty cool. You could change the scale, make it a little more finite, make it look like clouds going by. So like 0.05, really slow that thing down. And here is the kicker for this. If we grab the light and we go in, and like I said, I don't have everything set up just yet, but if we go into the light settings and you grab this radius, this is what they call the shadow soft size. So if you were to hold your mouse over this, maybe, if it's going to let me do it, I don't have tooltips on or something. And there we go. So this, when you have tooltips on, you'll be able to see the actual individual name, which is good for programming. So while I'm trying to write in the Python and use the Serpens add-on creator, I'll be able to pull this up. And so by softening the shadow here with the radius, which is another feature I'll add, it almost doesn't matter what the resolution is. But if you wanted to, you definitely can come in here and change the vertice count, and you could make it look a little Minecrafty, if you will. But just for the purposes of it looking somewhat normal, we can leave it the way it is. And then, of course, you can change all the different options here and kind of play around with those and figure them out. Now, the monkey head doesn't do anything right now. You click that all you want. On to the last thing. Get back there, mouse. On to the last item. The lights obviously still stay the same. So anytime you want to pull in a light that is accurate to the black body intensity, you can literally just do that. And the light itself, let me grab the light. It's just being a pain. That's why this is nice. So I'll grab the area light, and then I can go in, and I'm not sure if I got that set up yet. Yeah, I do a little bit. Could bring the spread down. There we go. And the spread will actually help out with the distribution of the light. I'm just going to go over to the world properties and pump down the actual world lighting to 0. Make a little more sense. And the same thing is going to apply here. So I can hit A for all, and I can store all of these features, change the lighting, change the power, add that, and then switch back and forth. And I didn't rotate the light like I wanted to. One of the cool things, just to mention, and I'm just about done here, one of the cool things about this is that the entire light is controlled by an empty, and so we can store in like rotations as well, all kind of cool stuff. And so if you wanted to kind of change this, it's going to affect the inverse square law a good bit. You can move this thing around anywhere you want and store those features. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and smash that subscribe, smash that like, go pick up the add-on if you don't have it. It'd probably be a little bit longer. Hopefully in the next couple weeks to a month, I'll have this one done and out so everybody can enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.